can't remember the name of the photographer, but wasn't the most expensive print ever. Was it a sunset or something, like a blurry sunset, and it went for over $1 million, or it was about $1 million?
Is that Peter Lick?
Quite possibly. You probably know better than me, but I seem to, because it wasn't that long ago, was it? Was it a couple of years ago or something?
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole story around it. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but the story that I hear is that he had someone buy it for himself. So no money was actually exchanged hands.
Okay.
They went for £1 million, but it's a whole interesting story about that.
We're getting all the gossip now, Vince. That's really interesting to really interesting to know that.
It didn't come from me, by the way.
No, okay, yeah. Allegedly, we'll put that in there.
That's what it is. It's interesting to see value, isn't it? Because again, I know of another photographer that had their work up in an exhibition setting, and they were valuing him at one price. Someone else looked at them and said, "No, I had a zero on the end." And their work was up with other photographers, and all the prints that had the extra zero on the end were the bigger selling prints, because people like the idea of laying out larger sums of money to tell their friends they've bought that very expensive print.
It is. I've always, because I've never, I do sell a few prints, but I don't make a huge amount of money from prints myself. I guess that's because the nature of my work is quite specialist. Like, unless you're a very keen angler, you're probably not going to have a roach. I mean, you might have a roach on your wall, because I know you're quite a keen angler, but most other people probably wouldn't. But
That's true.
But I've always struggled to know what to price it at, because I look at, there doesn't seem to be a system. Like, you see some photographers and they'll sell their prints for, I don't know, a 10x8 for a tenner, and then someone else might sell it for 50 quid. And it's difficult pricing stuff like that, I found personally.
Okay. I definitely agree. I mean, you should never start too cheap. I think the problem is if you start your print at a very low value, it's hard then to increase it.
Yeah.
But there are ways of increasing your value, and that's so things like limited edition runs. So a lot of photographers we work with will release their print on a limited edition run. It could be 15, it could be 50, it could be 150. But obviously, the smaller the print run, the higher the value. And as they sell through, when there's only a couple left of that print run, the value increases sharply. So again, another print run that started off at £500, and the last two were selling for £7,000 each.
Wow.
So that's a good way of adding value to your print runs. I think if it's an open range, people don't expect to pay large sums of money for it.
I mean, I know artists do that with prints, but I guess photographers are artists, arguably, but I'd never really thought of doing that. That's a really good point, actually. So maybe I'll, 5 roach prints and just see how that goes.